Let's take this off. You missed that out. Oh, shit. Let's get it, baby. On the Alcorn. We back.
A pleasant good morning to everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Open the show with some big plays in a game that I just personally thought it was over. Texas Southern University won everywhere but on the scoreboard. Those highlights: Joshua Griffin with a 54-yard field goal to send it in overtime. Kendrick Grimes scores on a 16-yard touchdown in overtime to get the win. But before that, to even get close, Kelby Givens with a 39-yard fumble recovery, and he got it done. We're going to talk a lot about that game. Get you ready for Southern and Alcorn State. At stake, the inside track to the Western Division in the 2023 SWAC football season. Our guest menu looks like this. Charles Edmond of the Alcorn State Radio Network will join us, give you a feel of what's going on in Lawrence, Mississippi, site of the huge matchup today. BJ Jones of Inside HBCU Football will join us. He's in Lawrence, Mississippi. Give us an update as well. Then Coach Van Pettaway, Willa Brown, and then we'll wrap up today's show with Coach Kevin Johnson, men's basketball coach at Southern University. Simply what's trending: Western Division, a showdown, the lead at stake, the inside track, just some of the cliches about this ball game. Also, hats out to Southern University women's soccer team. They made it to the semifinals. Great season. Lost 2-0 to Jackson State. Coach Fontenot has the program on the right track. And then also, Southern University in men's basketball action, a 94-60 victory over Louisiana Christian in a big ball game. Again, Coach Johnson will join us at 12:30 Central Standard Time. That's what's trending on the Carlos Brown Show. We'll be joined now by Charles Edmond of the Alcorn State Radio Network shortly. But back to Southern University and Texas Southern football game. When I tell you, I had so many emotions going on in that football game. I just had Southern University losing the ball game. I mean, when you look at it, Texas Southern won everywhere but the scoreboard. Some numbers to remember: 58 yards passing by Harold Blood in Southern University. Anemic. A lot of the fans were showing their frustration. I guess they wanted to see give the another quarterback a chance. Joshua Griffin, 54-yard field goal, as you can see right there, to send in overtime. Tremendous feat, strong leg, and he was able to get it done. And then, of course, Kelby Givens put Southern University at the moment of having a chance to win the football game with a 39-yard fumble, scoop, and score. But I just don't know about this offense right now. They have been very inconsistent. We've kind of talked about it throughout the year. Running game, Kendrick Grimes, once again, um, did a good job as far as getting over 100 yards rushing. Now it sets the stage for this football game in Lorman, Mississippi today. Southern University and Alcorn State. Charles Edmond, welcome to the show. We were talking before the show started, not your usual atmosphere as far as the crowd, the energy. You're there. What's the latest?
Yes, it just, you can kind of tell. I live in Vicksburg, 45 minutes away. And typically when there's going to be a big crowd, i.e. homecoming, i.e. Jackson State, you see a line of cars from Vicksburg coming through Port Gibson and here. And you just a spattering of cars from Vicksburg through Port Gibson, and then from Port Gibson on the stretch, which leads here to campus, just a spattering of cars. So I'm like that final curve before you get on the campus. I was expecting to see a line of cars backed up. And maybe for the first time in years, I was able to drive right up to the checkpoint. There was one car in front of me, and I'm like, I found that interesting. And this was at 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, it might be crazy, but I've been here since 5 o'clock this morning. And so you could just tell it's been a slow trickle. It's starting to pick up a little bit now, less than 3 hours before kickoff, but it definitely is a different vibe, a different feel, a different synergy, a different energy in terms of this game. Because usually Alcorn and Southern is off the chains. It's been talked about on social media. A lot of folks talking about it there. But what we're seeing right now, it might pick up. I mean, it's still less than 3 hours away from kickoff. Not quite the same vibe for whatever reason. I have no idea, but definitely not the same.
Well, from the standpoint, we're looking at Southern University, and from the proximity, it's the closest SWAC school. I think, and of course, Southern has a chance to obtain their goals. It's still in front of them. But I think last week really left a bad taste somewhat for the Jaguar Nation. It's just my humble opinion. Now, you're happy for the win. Yes, but it was like you snatched victory from defeat in that ball game. We kind of talked about, 3 big plays. Definitely Kelby Givens with the fumble recovery. But if when I look in the statistical story, Texas Southern outgained Southern like 400 something to 200 yards passing, 58 yards passing, had over 100 yards rushing. I'm talking about Southern University. And that game, I think, just really left a bad taste in the Southern's Jaguar Nation fans. Did that game kind of affect the team that's traveling today as far as the crowd? Maybe so. But if you kind of look at the season in a nutshell, split it right down the middle. Defense has played well, albeit last week they gave up almost 300 yards to a rusher, Mr. Owens from Texas Southern, who, by the way, he is as advertised. A very good runner, north to south, runs strong. So the big question is for the Jaguar Nation. You tell me, if the defense, and they play well, if they had an off week, and that was last week, do you believe that the offense will be able to win a game if the defense has an off night? Offense really didn't get it done. Special teams, defense still having an off night. They were able to put Southern in a position to get the victory. So with that being said, I'm not as confident in this offense right now. And I hope I'm wrong. Charles, I told you before the show started, I hope I am dead wrong. I will be glad to be wrong. Can this offense be consistent can we see this offense, besides big plays, can they get down the field on some, you know, double-digit plays, time of possession? If it's not a big play, can they be consistent enough? Can Harold Blood and Coach Dooley, because he's the offensive coordinator, can they dial up something better than what we've seen so far to be consistent? I haven't seen it. I just haven't seen it. And God knows, I hope I'm wrong, but I just haven't seen it. Will this defense once again be put in a position to have to win the ball game? We shall see. A lot of storylines to this game.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got 3 games left in the regular season. Okay, you are who you are, and so when you look at Southern University, running game rhymes, back-to-back 100-yard games. Running backs have been a problem for us defensively. As good as we've been, one of the top teams in terms of interceptions, getting to the quarterback, all that good stuff. But Southern, I think, is going to try to slow this game down. The other thing that Southern has a huge advantage is special teams. They have a punt and kickoff return for a touchdown. We don't have that. We're near the bottom in both categories, kickoff return yardage and punt return yardage. Flipping the field. One of the top punters in the conference. You guys have that. I think those intangibles could be the key. I have a sneaky suspicion that Dooley is going to try to slow this thing down and not put it in Blood's hands. He threw for 58 yards last week. 99 out of 100 times that just doesn't win. But somehow the other intangibles stepped up. A scoop and score, a 50-plus yard field goal, and those things happen. Carlos, I've been worried about this game for a month. Yes, I have followed Southern and their struggles offensively, the upset fans and all that. But just something tells me that Southern's going to play a much better game, a much cleaner game, the best game of the year. Now, whether it wins them this game here or not, I don't know. But I just think that with all the cussing and fussing and belly aching and griping, at some point, the rubber's got to meet the road as far as the season is concerned. Either you're going to do it or you're not. And this is that game for Southern University because Prairie View's lurking in the bushes. Prairie View's lurking. They beat us here. They got Pine Bluff at home. I'm sure Prairie View fans are pulling for pulling for Southern to win because Prairie View's won here. They got the tie break. And then Prairie View goes to Southern next week. So the time is now for us as well as Southern University. All that other stuff, you just got to figure it out as you go. It's not pretty. It's not fancy. It's grimy. It's dirty. It's nasty. It's not a thing of beauty. Our fans are complaining too. We won 4 in a row, one of the hottest teams in the league. People are saying, hey, who'd you beat? You beat Pine Bluff. You beat Valley. You beat Grambling here, which was a solid win. And Alabama State handed it to us on a silver platter, just like Texas Southern handed it to you guys last week. But at the end of the day, both of us are kind of in the same boat. We control our own fate. And so offensively, we're playing pretty well. Aaron Allen pushing the ball down the field. We got back to a good running attack the last couple of games, and that's Braves football. But the other intangibles, the special teams, kickoff and punt return coverage, those things are going to be critical in a game like this. And our fans aren't happy either, Carlos, despite one of the hottest teams in the league. It's not a thing of beauty. It's just not. But I'm happy that where we are, I'm fortunate that where we are, and we just got to put this thing together. Someone's going to put it together today, Carlos. I'm hoping it's us, but I think Southern's going to leave it all out here because if they don't win this game, it's going to be very tough to win the Western Division.
Well, you're a little bit more confident than I am, and once again, I hope I'm wrong because sometimes you can kind of see things, and if you look at a season, do you see improvement from game to game? And by the way, Texas Southern 16 penalties for 143 yards. Thus, that is probably the main reason that they didn't get it done. And I'm sure Texas Southern fans were unhappy. Talking to a few of them, it seemed to be the same old for the season. What you see is what you get. You take a win. And again, your goals are still ahead of you. But if you are honest enough and brutally honest, you know it's only been by a thin line that you're 5-3 overall, 4-1 in conference play. You started off the first two games losing to Eastern Division opponents, although it didn't count. So, yes, today would be the day to put it all together and get things done. Because if it doesn't happen, and let's say I'm right, again, how many times can I say it? Hopefully I'm wrong. Then I think you will see emotionally the fans, they're going to check out. Now, you're going to have some that are going to still be loyal, and they're there, fans are there now. But today would be a good day to put it all together and prove me wrong.
Hey, I 100% agree with you, but
Mhm.
you and I have seen enough Southern Alcorn games and critical times of the year. And when Southern's back is against the wall, when no one is giving them a chance, and look, no one's giving Southern a chance to win this game. I read the posts on social media, Braves by 40,
Oh, that's
Alcorn by
crazy.
10,
Yeah.
Alcorn by 20. I see it. I see all of that. But these are the kind of games when you don't give Southern a snowball's chance, and you know what? Somehow, some way, they find a way. On the road, everything against them, not playing well, get rid of Dooley, all that quarterback, get a new all I've heard this before, and somehow it just seems to me on the road. Now, if you're at home, it's a different story. You know where I go with that. Southern and big games at home just cannot get it done. Period. 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 Colon exclamation mark. They just can't. But on the road, backs against the wall, crowd against them. Somehow they find a way. They're gonna play their best game. Whether it's good enough to win today, I don't know. Of course, I'm hoping the Braves get it done and put Southern behind the eight ball. But we still got a lot of work to do because Prairie View's sitting in the cut. Prairie View's sitting in the cut. They got the tiebreaker on Alcorn. And so we still got to go to TSU. You talked about Owens. We're going to see him next Sunday. Then you got Jackson State. Hey, Jackson State doesn't want to lose at home. So we got some work to do regardless. You know, Prairie View's got the softer schedule. They're at home against UAPB. They're at home against Valley. They go to Baton Rouge next week. Hey, I just, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just think that Southern finds a way in these kind of games to get one. And I've been concerned for the last month. For the last month on this show, Carlos, I've said I've been worried about this game. I've circled this game, regardless of what Southern has done. The Florida Memorials and the FAMU collapses in Jackson State. Somehow I just think today they're going to put it together. Whether they win, I don't know. But it'll be a different Southern team, in my opinion, based on the numbers, Ryan's back-to-back 100-yard games and all that. The defense is stout. I think it's going to be a slugfest here today. I really do.
Well, speaking of Prairie View, what kind of mindset they're going to be in? Got a chance to see that game last week. They were completely dominated.
Yes.
Dominated. That's the word. It wasn't even close. So we always talk about how do you face adversity? How do you come back after a loss like that? FAMU, still, without a doubt. Not a perfect team, but the best team in the conference. And by the way, wrapped up the Eastern Division, will represent the Eastern Division in the SWAC championship game. Congratulations to Coach Willie Simmons. I'm not going to bore you with a lot of numbers, but what we've been talking about, the comment I made, they won everywhere, they meaning Texas Southern, but the scoreboard, 303 yards rushing. That's Texas Southern. Haven't seen that many rushing yards since Southern playing at Alcorn one time. 400 yards. Former a different coach, but I hadn't seen that kind of rushing in a while. Net yards passing. Texas Southern 140, Southern 58. That's all you need to know. Just those two numbers. Penalties. Texas Southern 16 for 143. Southern 7 for 64. Time of possession 37 minutes and 8 seconds for Texas Southern. 22 minutes and 52 seconds. Right there. Offense didn't do diddly squat last week. Highlights. Kendrick Rhymes, 136 net yards on 11 carries. Big one, 69 yards. Joshua Griffin, 54-yard field goal. I think that's got to be a record in Southern's history. And then Robins Beauplan, 5 punts, 224 yards, 44.8 yards. That is the highlight, folks. And besides, defensively, Kelby Gibbons got it done. Am I disappointed? Yeah, you can tell. But Southern lives to see another day against Alcorn State. Now, I've kind of looked at some of the numbers. Very similar. If you look at statistical story, Southern University and Alcorn State. Total offense, Alcorn number 6, Southern number 7. Alcorn 348 yards a game, Southern 337. Defense, Alcorn is number 4, giving up 317 yards per game. Southern is number 2 overall, 304. And I'll stop right there. And some other statistics that you can put in. So from a statistical standpoint, this team is very similar. Offensively, both teams have had their ups and downs offensively. Defensively, both teams will tell you that's their strong point of the team. Special teams, give the edge to Southern University. Defense, I give the edge to Southern University. Offensively, I give the edge to Alcorn State. Now, intangibles, coaching, where do you go with that? I have to get a slight edge to Coach McNair. So I'll have my prediction towards the end of the show when we bring in the other panels. But the significance of this game it's important. Good morning, Johnny, from the reservation.
He's here.
Oh, yeah, he's here. He said that he's a loyal Southern fan, alum, and, hey, he's going to be there. And me and Johnny talk all the time. Very concerned about this ball game offensively. But other than that, CB and the Black Cow Sports Network family, hello. Hello, F. Norman. So with that being said, Charles, this game, the winner controls the Western Division.
Yeah.
Well, at least they're in a good spot to take the Western Division.
Yep. You got 3 teams that are in the hunt and one lurking, but probably not, and that's Grambling. Grambling's going to need a lot to have happen. That loss to Alcorn here hurt them. They did beat Prairie View, so they got that to hang on to. But the winner of this game clearly has a really, really good shot. But the Panthers are sitting back waiting because their schedule is pretty soft, even though in years past the Panthers have stumbled to the finish line. Some years, like last year, they didn't get to the finish line because they stumbled in the last mile of the finish line. So they've got 2 home games in the next 3 games. They got the early game today with UAPB. But the winner of this game clearly is in really good position. For Southern University, they got to continue to win. We've got to continue to win because Prairie View has that tiebreaker. 2-team tie breaks, 3 teams. There could be a 3-way tie, Carlos, for first place with a 6-2 record if things kind of go the way it's going to go. And if Prairie View beats Southern next week, Prairie View's got that tie break. They got it on us, single, tie break. They can have it on 2 teams. They can have the whole thing. So Prairie View fans are sitting back saying, okay, we got our brains beat out last week at FAMU, but you know what? We got Pine Bluff at home. Let's see what Southern does with Alcorn. If the Jaguars win this game, then we right back in it. Prairie View would be right back in it because then they go to Baton Rouge next week. that game right there could really, close the door on both of us. So there's a lot of moving pieces here in these next couple of weeks. The schedule is not all that great for the Braves. We got to go to Texas Southern on a Sunday. Got to go to Jackson. That game's been moved to Sunday, by the way. That game, and so we go to Jackson on a short week. Schedule is going to be tough. We got to figure out a way. We got to get it done here to kind of set the table for that. Southern University, they're here. They play, obviously, Prairie View at home, and then the Bayou Classic. Could the Bayou Classic mean something as far as Southern is concerned? And then, of course, we talked about Prairie View and their schedule. So there's still a lot of moving parts and moving pieces, but this game can be the table setter for all of that, depending on who wins this game.
Well, with that being said, I'm going to take a break. Hopefully now I can get into a more energetic, a more enthusiastic mood with Southern University and Alcorn State, the big game. So we'll take a timeout. We'll check and see if BJ Jones is ready to join us. But we shall return. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be right back.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again.
This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in.
Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics, there's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
T. Madden and Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
Stride K-12 powered schools are ready to put over 20 years of being a leader in online education to work for you. Dive into curriculum design for the online classroom. Team up with state-certified teachers trained in virtual instruction. Take control of your child's education journey. Discover the power of personalized learning with a leader experienced in preparing kids for a future they can be excited about. Take charge. Stride K-12. Enroll now for the fall.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. I'm Carlos Brown, Charles Edmond, live in Lorman, Mississippi. Charles, update. Is the crowd a little bit more enthusiastic? Are they coming in a little bit more?
Yeah, the stadium is open. Fans are coming in, and so you expect it's going to be a full house today. There's no question about it. It may be a slow arriving crowd. You know, when you've been here, Carlos, usually when Southern and Alcorn play, you know, this place is jumping at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's smoke. You know, it's just, you know, it's a beautiful day, but it's not quite the same vibe for whatever reason. You know, for us, we control our own fate despite Southern controls their own fate despite. I don't know if this game has lost some luster. As you talked about, Southern fans still disgruntled after what happened last week. I mean, that was one. Just I kind of look at Southern's game last week kind of the way our game was early in the year with Alabama State. Bama State had the ball at our 5-yard line with the lead with 4 minutes left, and they fumbled. We march down the field, you get a field goal at the horn and send it overtime and win it. And the same thing with Texas Southern. I mean, that's just kind of an inexcusable loss for Texas Southern. And you think about that team, Carlos. They blew a 17-point lead against Prairie View, right? They led 14-0 against FAMU early, and then they blow that game. Texas Southern very well could be a rebel rouser in this division if they had some things go their way and if they could have finished, but it didn't happen. But it's definitely a different vibe. It's a beautiful day here. Crowd is coming in. And we expect close to a full house here today.
Yeah, I've been to several games at the reservation, albeit it was championships were at stake, and both times came away, disappointed. Johnny Johnson says the nation is here, but I still think it would be if the season had gone in a little bit different direction, it wouldn't be so much frustration. I think you would probably see a record crowd, but we shall see. Our colleague, Brian Fulford, said, hello, Charles, Carlos and Charles. What does the loser of today's game have to do when the opponent wins? Besides pray, you control your own destiny if you win that ball game, but if you lose, then you got to rely on someone else to give you some help, and that is always not a good feeling.
Yeah,
not a good feeling to have to get some help, as they say.
Well, if the Braves lose this game, we are in bad shape on 3 tiebreakers. Okay, so if we've already lost to Prairie View, so they have the tiebreaker on us head up. If we lose this game, then we're out of the tiebreaker as far as Prairie View and Southern is concerned. And in a 3-team tiebreak, and I looked up the SWAC tiebreak policy, if all 3 teams are 6-2, based on the scenario we just talked about, if the Braves don't win this game, the Braves are out because they're 0-2 against the 2 teams that we're tied with, being Prairie View and Southern University. We would be out right away. Then you go to the head, because all you're doing with a 3-team tiebreak is eliminate 1 team to get it to 2 teams, and then you go with the head-up matchup. So whoever, even though if Southern loses this game, they're not exactly out of it, because then they got to hope the Braves lose a couple, and then they got to beat Prairie View and hand them a 3rd loss. So for Southern, it's a little bit more wiggle room if they don't win. But for the Braves, if they don't win this game, they've got to win out and hope some other things happen. They lose out on any tie break with Prairie View or Southern. So that, this game is huge for Alcorn, considering it's a tough road ahead at TSU, at Jackson State. And so you look at that. This is a big game, a huge game for both. Probably a bigger game for Alcorn because we've already lost to Prairie View. And so I think it's a bigger matchup for Alcorn than it is Southern.
Well, Charles, with all due respect, if Southern loses his ball game today, and then they have to, they got a little bit more wiggle room, that doesn't make, I would think, 90% of the Jaguar Nation feel happy about that. How can we prove where we don't have to rely on those scenarios? Simply win the week. 1-0. Then you could think about Prairie View. Then you could think about Grambling State. Then you could think about scenario only if you lose this ball game today. So how can you not put yourself in that scenario? You win the week today. You defeat Alcorn State. You prove me wrong. You prove a lot of people wrong that you could consistently today go out and offensively make good decisions from the quarterback play. Offensive play calling, you put Blood in a position where he's successful. If he does not, then to me, with so much at stake, then you have to go to someone else, a backup quarterback, whoever. You look at this scenario right now. You got to win this ball game. You got to put yourself in the best position to get it done. Then you can kind of silence some of the people that have been very frustrated. And we look at it again. This offense has not lived up to how it's been built up to be. They haven't done it. Is that being harsh? Yes, I guess so. But is it fair? Yes, it is fair. The criticism.
It's the truth.
And it is the truth. Show me. I'm from Missouri.
Okay.
Today. I'm from Missouri. Show me. Although I'm a native of Louisiana. And then you can kind of set yourself in a trend. But I definitely don't like when you have to go through all these scenarios. Tiebreaker 1, 2, 3, 4. You control your destiny. And you have to get it done today. By the way, BJ Jones is headed up that way. Hopefully we'll be able to get him in on the show.
Yeah, I think in my opinion, I think what Southern's going to try to do is take the ball out of Blood's hands as much as possible and run the football. You got a back that's had back-to-back 100-yard running games. You slow it down. A quarterback's best friend is what? A running game. We've been talking about it. We talked about it for years. So you got a back that's hot right now. And I think you slow it down. You keep our defense on the field. I think for Southern University, that's what they're going to try to do. If you put too much, if you have to stretch the field, that's not, to me, just looking at the numbers, that's not Blood. That's not the offense. And if that happens, the Braves are going to be sitting on that. So I expect Southern to ground and pound today. I really do. We've got to do a good job in avoiding penalties, especially on the offensive side of the ball. These pre-snap penalties, the holds, and Southern's defense is very good. Number 2 in the league, very aggressive. And, we got to protect the football. And so I think from Southern offensively, I expect a good dose of rhymes today. And the Braves are going to have to be ready for that early and often.
It's going to be interesting. We're going to add, let's add Willow Brown when we get a second. He's waiting in the shadows. Some of my notes: better offensive production. This is Southern, what they need to do against Alcorn State. Of course, it's a running game, but don't you dare think Alcorn's going to let Southern come out and be successful running the football. If they should be like every other defensive coordinator until you could get it done. And look, Harold Blood's what, 3rd in the conference in passing, but it's just so erratic. I'm living on or banking on Harold Blood beating me. And that happens. And when I say Harold Blood, we also got to say offensive coordinator, putting him in a position to be successful. Let's see if that happens. Better play calling and decision making on Blood's part. Last week he held on to the ball too long several times. And again, what's at stake? It's not a one-game season, but in a way it is. I would not waste one extra minute if he is struggling to put somebody else in there to give this offense a spark. I always look at down and distance, and you can kind of look at the trend. If Southern has to throw the ball 40-plus times, that's usually not a good thing. So to your point, Charles, yeah, running production, the running game has to be good today. Also, defensively, I think Southern has to they got to pressure Allen. They've got to get after him. And then also, Southern has to limit explosive plays. Now, a good way to limit explosive plays is, once again, we look at an offense has been very erratic. Then the defense is on the field a lot of snaps. Then you tend to see blown plays, missed tackles. So, yeah, I'm putting all of the emphasis on the offense. They've got to have their best production, to me, of the season against a quality opponent and a quality defense, because they've struggled against quality opponents, especially defensively.
Well, let me ask you this question, Carlos. In your opinion, okay, so if Blood struggles, Blood is thrown for 1,646 yards, 216 passing attempts. Noah Bowden, the Grambling transfer, is 5 of 12. Do you think Dooley would pull that trigger, considering the load that Blood has had and the lack of load that Bowden has had?
No, I'll answer that brutally honest. No, we haven't seen it. Would I do it? I'm not the offensive coordinator, but yeah, to get a spark. Because again, not putting all emphasis on the game, but they're putting all emphasis on this game. This is important. If you win it, then you move on. But I just don't see him doing it. Based on what I've seen, he's not going to do it. And I hope that he doesn't struggle today. I hope he's in a position. I hope he brings his A game. I hope his offensive coordinator brings his A game. When I kind of look at some of the play calling, it's a lot of plays that are called that takes time to develop, and you don't have the time a lot of times. Take what the defense gives you. Tight end involvement. I don't believe tight ends have caught 10 passes, 23 of them. Backs out, slants, curls, comeback routes. Help him out. Help him out. That's all I'm saying.
Well, Carlos, I'm going to give you a secret right now. Our number one receiver in terms of touchdowns, you know who it is?
The tight end.
Our tight end, Truck Griffin, 4 touchdowns.
That's how FAMU has an outstanding tight end. I just have to say this. It reminds me of the 90s when I would see Southern Jackson State play. Jackson State was a big play offense. But if they don't get the big plays, then they sort of self-destruct. Penalties, turnovers, and then the discipline. So do I say this is a team that's a big play or bust? Yes. Feast or famine? Yes. I just got to see better production today. Better production. But no, to answer your question, no. I think he's going to ride him no matter what. But again, I hope I'm what? I hope I am wrong.
Yeah. I think, again, there was a post out there that was talking about the trenches, how this game is won in the trenches. I agree with that. I think our defensive line is going to have to continue to do their good work and put pressure on the quarterback. I think that's what helped us against Valley last week. It was a 10-3 game at halftime, and our defensive line just took over. Now, they got a young quarterback, and so I think, they were able to rattle them a little bit. But our defensive line has to get in Blood's face. Our defensive line has to slow down that Southern running attack because I do think they're going to really ride Rhymes a lot today. Back-to-back 100-yard games. He's got the hot hand in the backfield. I fully expect Dooley to use him early and often, screens and other things. And then that opens up the passing game. The question is, how far do they stretch that? When you can run the football, you stack the box, you can get some stuff down the field. The question is, do you do that if you're Eric Dooley with a quarterback who threw for 58 yards last week? Do you roll that dice and take the chance?
Well, you mentioned the running game, and we have to give credit of late. But Southern still ninth in the conference in running the football, 121 yards a game, ninth. Can they get it done today? You've got other backs besides Kendrick Grimes, Kobe Dillon. You got Qualls. I mean, and I guess that's what's so frustrating. The talent is there, but something is just not right. And once again, I could be wrong. People in the chat room, tell me if I'm wrong. I think the way you play Southern University is you make them pass. Can Harold Blood, can Coach Dooley, although he's not on the field, he's calling the plays. Are you confident enough? You are confident to make this team be able to pass to win the ball game. I just don't see it, Charles, where I think defenses stack the box and they shut off the running game. What do? You'll have to pass it. So we go back to being a balanced offense. To me, it's harder to defend. It's problematic when you have to go against an offense that can do both equally well, run and pass. But we shall see.
Let me ask you this: what is the deal with Kobe Dillon, Carlos? Because I remember this a couple of years ago, the stats on him was just off the charts. He ran for 255 against Texas Southern one game, and everybody thought he was the man in the backfield, but not behind Qualls and obviously Rhymes. Is he hurt?
That's a good question. I don't think. Now he had a major injury, and one of the games you're talking about against the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, where he had like 260 something yards. It's just been slow. I don't want to say it's because of the injury of last year, but I just don't know. I mean, he's had some snaps. Again, we talked about all fall camp about the running back room is there. The talent is there. Why he has not been more productive? Is it because Quarles and Kendrick Grimes have been better, have been more consistent? Probably so. Could we see him today? Yeah. Hopefully you can. I want them to throw everything in the arsenal today. I know they probably have 15 or 20 plays schemed. Hopefully it's their best plays that are productive. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for. Let's see. Michael Jones says the game will be won on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Can Alcorn stop the run? And the same for Southern University. Now, defensively, Southern has been pretty good against the run, stout. And then the last two games against Alcorn, one with interim Coach Rollins, Southern University was able to win the ball game. And then last year, you look at that ball game, Southern on the first drive, they were able to go with a big play. You remember, Charles, the pass reception? And then Alcorn kind of made some adjustment and made it a very tough game. So they come in against Alcorn on a 2-game winning streak. So you would figure, hey, this team is confident. And they probably are confident they can get it done. But that was 2 years ago and last year. Totally different. Now you come in, again, with an opportunity. The winner of this game is really sitting pretty.
To answer the question, Carlos, Southern's defense against the run is number 3 in the league, averaging 100, giving up an average of 113 a game, just 3.1 yards per carry. So they can be stout. And I didn't know this until this morning that Southern hasn't won here since 2016. Last time Southern University's won here.
I was there.
First 2 championship games on campus here. So it's been a long time since Southern's been here, period. But it's been that 7 years since they've won here. So
Right.
That adds another dimension to this game to me.
Yeah, Leonard Tillery had a huge game. Coach Dawson Odom was the coach. And we don't have to go with the history, Charles. I know you're trying to egg me on here.
No,
No.
No, sir. No, sir.
Odom's had a winning record, but everyone knows his Waterloo was Alcorn. One victory. 2016. I was there.
Yeah.
There was a guy for Alcorn. Footman? Leonard Footman? Is that correct?
Lenore Footman, yeah.
Lenore Footman. Let's see. He threw for 300. He ran for over 100. And guess what? Southern actually could have really won by 20 plus that game. Southern has a strong running game. Defense, not as good as the defense this year. But yeah, I remember that. One of the few times that I left the reservation in a good mood. I remember that 2016. So, Charles, what do you think? What have the Alcorn Knights have to say about this game as far as prediction-wise?
They feel pretty good because we're at home. Look, the bottom line is a lot of fans, just like the Jaguar Nation, are still not comfortable with what's going on here in terms of Coach McNair. And I've talked with people this week. It's tough. It's tough. Yes, we're winning. And when you win games, it covers up a lot of stuff in terms of just, it quiets the negative noise when you win. We've won 4 in a row, one of the hottest teams in the league behind Florida A&M. But what fans want to see is a complete 4-quarter game today. Running the ball with Jarvion Howard, Aaron Allen pushing the ball down the field, our defense creating havoc, and special teams, I think, is going to really be looked at today in terms of how we kick it, where we kick it. And because Southern has a punt and kickoff return for touchdowns. We lost the game with directional kicking, a short pooch kick, 2 years ago, and Southern kicks a field goal and wins. That's what people are talking about. People are happy that we're in position to win the West, but still it's a little bit of uncomfortability for a lot of people. Just based on just where we are, and just like people are talking about Dooley, and I hate to say it, I mean, I think, to me, I'm just a results-oriented guy. I like winning. It's not going to be pretty, but if we keep winning, I think some of the noise will quiet down, but it's the way it's happening. It's the way we're winning. And so I think people are they're okay for now, but it's win the week and let's see what happens. And so I think right now, Braves fans are happy that Southern's back on campus, but they just want to see a dominant game. I mean, one of the questions I have not asked Coach McNair is, have you seen a 4-quarter game yet? And if I were to ask him that right now, he'll probably say no, because these games have been close at halftime, 10-3 with Valley, 10-7 with UAPB. We had a big drive against Grambling in the 4th quarter, big drive. Bama State handed that game to us. So you're talking about a dominant performance from start to finish. We haven't had that yet. So Coach McNair's looking for it. I think the fans are looking for it. And this is a game in which you can do that if you deliver the first blow. But the longer you let Southern linger around, the underdog, we've seen these things, and we've seen some crazy stuff happen in this conference, Carlos. 2 teams lose on homecoming. Texas Southern hands you the game last week. FAMU blows the doors off Prairie View. Some weird stuff. And so a game like this, fans don't want to see that here, because if we don't get it done, it's going to be tough. But I think fans right now are a little bit, they're calm for right now. But, when you're on the edge of that seat, Carlos, it don't take much for you to get riled up. And I just hope that it doesn't get to that point where fans are on the edge of their seat in front of this packed house today.
Keywords: complete game. That about settles it for both teams, both fan bases, both alums. A complete game. And I understand it. I get it. Hey, you're still in a position to achieve some goals. Understand that. A win is a win. But it's the way. you've been winning. And you got to have a lot of luck. And I think both teams have been lucky. Ball bounces a different way. Alcorn's not even in this discussion, you know. With Southern University last week against Texas Southern. Won everywhere but the scoreboard, Texas Southern. And by the way, Coach McKinney, will we see him next year roaming the sidelines at Texas Southern? A lot of things to pack. I'm kind of hearing some things, frustration with Texas Southern fans. I can understand it, and alums. I definitely can. So with that being said, this has been a wacky 2023 season for some. But at the end of the day, the most consistent team, the team has been the most consistent. The team has been able to overcome some adversity. That will be the team that will be at the finish line.
Yeah.
And for others, it'll be an off season and a spring to kind of get things better. Who will be at SWAC Media Day next year? Charles, you've seen it. Those there last year, you may not see some.
Yeah.
And for all of the frustration, and I understand, and that's kind of part of the game. At the end of the day, you still pull for those student athletes. You still pull for the head man in charge at that institution. He's good until he's not there. But now, do you criticize, constructive criticism? That's part of it too. We've seen some things this past season and the season before. And when you see those things, it's kind of like bacteria you have you grow it. You look under the microscope, you see a little bit of bacteria. Then you see some more. Then you see some more every time you look. And you have to ask yourself again, has this team, our teams, have they improved from day 1, week 2, week 3, week 4? Is it a better team? Those are some of the things you just have to ask. And then you'll get your answer.
Yeah.
You'll get your answer.
I think offensively, Carlos, we have improved. We have improved offensively. There's no question about it. The first few weeks, Stephen F., USM, remember Tyler Macon was kind of thrown in there as our starting quarterback. But, of course, he had his struggles, was banged up. But the offense had to be transformed with Aaron Allen at the helm. You know, the deep ball. I mean, here's the thing. We're not really throwing the ball deep, Carlos. It's a lot of check downs, a lot of square outs.
Take what the defense gives you.
Right, taking what the defense gives you. So when you do that, then you can go over the top. But then we were bogged down because we couldn't run the football for a 3-game stretch. Now we got almost 500 yards rushing the last 2 games. So we're kind of getting back to our identity in terms of raised football. So when you have that, you have a quarterback that can push the ball down the field. He's using his legs more, talking about Aaron Allen. He didn't do any of that last year. But obviously during this offseason, he was talked about that. And you're going to see him, run it a little bit more today. I think that has helped. So this offense, when you go back a month and a half ago to where we are right now, very much improved, especially now that at least here lately, the last 2 games, we've been able to run the football.
UAPB, correct?
Yes.
Mississippi Valley.
Yes.
I'll say this. Totally different run defense you're going to see today compared to those teams.
Yeah.
But you did what you were supposed to do against a team that struggled against the run.
Yeah.
I'll give you credit. Alcorn has been able to elevate their passing game because against Alcorn, I'm going to stop the run. And again, Allen has to prove that he can beat me throwing the ball. So they have been able to do that consistently. So it'll be interesting to see how this game plays out. Got to get off to a quick start if you're Southern University offensively. And if you win the coin toss, I think you take the ball. And then we'll see what happens on that first play dialed up. I'm a big person on mixing it up on first down. Don't run every first down. And don't run up the middle all of the time. Have some initiative, some creativity. And everything in that arsenal should be used today. It actually should have been done that way previously. But anyway, enough of that. We're going to take a time out. Chuck Hunt, good afternoon from the great Monroe, Louisiana. Thanks for tuning in. We'll take a break. Willa Brown will join us. We'll still see if we can find BJ Jones. Coach
Do I need to go looking for him, Carlos? He's around here somewhere. Do I need to put an APB out?
You can. Coach Van Pettaway. And then to end the show, we'll have Coach Kevin Johnson. He just texts me and says he's ready. By the way, I got some glowing reports from the exhibition that they had. I think you'll be proud of this basketball team. Give them some time. And I'm not talking 2 or 3 years down the line. Tough schedule, but we won't go into that again. But I think you'll be proud of this program and what Coach Johnson is building. We'll be back. You're watching Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
I'm returning to Clinton Paris, and Tampa's my community. I grew up here, went to school here, and my wife and I make our home here. What makes Tampa special are its people. So when I represent someone injured in my community, it's personal. Call my office and speak to a real lawyer and not some referral service. I will fight the insurance companies to get the settlement that you deserve. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being heard.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto, home, and life insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate, are you in good hands?
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. A.D. Wheeler Brown, the coach, Coach Van Pettaway. Good afternoon, Wheeler. Good afternoon, Coach Pettaway. Coach Pettaway's trying to get set. He's at Huntsville in a big game as well. Alabama, A&M, and FAMU getting it together. Wheeler, how are you doing, sir?
I can't complain. Hope both of you gentlemen are doing well.
Well, I'm complaining if you listen to the first part of the show, Wheeler. I'm just frustrated. I'm happy for a win. They were able to snatch victory out of the hands of defeat, the jaws of defeat. They got it done.
And that's the bottom line, Carlos. That's the bottom line at the end of the day. You know, I think we all kind of put too much stock on style points, you know, but the fact of the matter remains they won the week. Okay, number one, they won the week, you know, and then number two, they continue to live and fight another day. So they're still in control of their own destiny. Everything's ahead of them that needs to be ahead of them. They're not dependent on anybody else to do anything for them. So they accomplished the goal last week. It just wasn't pretty, you know, didn't look like, you know, folks thought it should have looked, that sort of thing. You know, as I said last week, at this time of the season, you throw all that pretty boy stuff out the window, Carlos. You throw it away. Bottom line, you throw it away. You get it done by any means necessary, you know, and as long as they're winning and they have control of their own destiny, that's what you want. That's just me talking now. That's just me.
I'm gonna clap, but I you know, it's been a rough 7 days. And if we look at basketball, my Miami Heat off to a slow start. What won their second game last night? Coach Pettaway?
Yes, sir.
I'm just frustrated. Somebody help me. Wheeler did a good job.
Well, look, you got something to look forward to. Basketball is right around the corner on the collegiate level, and then of course we already know that it's in full swing in the NBA. I think the in-season tournament so far has been a big hit. You know, they've had some great games, and I think the players are showing that they're interested in it. I know that if they told me there was a $500,000 prize at the end, I know I'd be ready to play too now. So we're getting some good basketball in the NBA. Your Miami Heat, they're going to be okay. You know, they're not. You know, you got high expectations for them, but you might be one of few that has Miami going back up there. But I think this is going to be a very interesting season. I think the number one pick has shown people that why he was picked number one.
Monster game.
You know, 19 years old and doing the things that he's doing right now. I think that kid has Victor has a very bright future.
Victor's only going to get better. And speaking of the NBA, we're going to do several topics. We'll be spinning around. Right now, Wheeler, Charles, Coach Pettaway, I have a coworker. She's a Celtics fan, and she lets me know every day at work they're the best team. Without a doubt, early on in the season, and it's so early, Boston Celtics, I have them number one in the NBA over Denver right now. They could be scary. Coach Pettaway, you don't agree with that?
No, how are you going to have them over the defending champ? You know, you're on top of the mountain. Somebody got to take you off of that mountain first, and so far, Denver's playing well now. You got to look what Jokic did the last 2 games. Man, he's destroying people. So I think it's too early for us to give up on Denver. Denver's got a very strong team, and I think they'll be back in the mix. You cannot overlook them. If you're going to look at now in the East, Boston's going to have their hands full over there. I think Milwaukee, once they get an opportunity to play together some more, I think we're going to see the Bucks battle the Celtics over there on that side. Now, Philadelphia, I think they lost too much. I think they're in too much of a disarray to do anything. But don't count out Giannis. And Dame is already showing you why he likes the ball in his hand toward the end of the game.
Yeah, he could. He would be just in a great situation. at Miami. He would be the number one option. He won't be the number one option in Milwaukee. But anyway, I think Boston right now, if I took a power ranking, Coach Pettaway, I would have Boston, then Denver. But that's debatable. I understand. And you're the basketball guru. I guess maybe just my feelings right now. But anyway, Charles.
Well, yeah, I got a question for Coach Pettaway. I mean, obviously, James Harden trade got me thinking about your team, Carlos, the Miami Heat. And we know in the NBA, superstars usually go where they want to go. James Harden went where he wanted to go. Why in the heck did Dame Lillard didn't go where he wanted to go? What fell apart? I mean,
Don't get me started. Don't get me started because I'm threatening tampering.
It's a shame to me. It is a shame. It's a low down dirty shame that Dame didn't go where he wanted to go. But James Harden caused all kinds of stomping and kicking and screaming, didn't show up for camp, out of shape, all that, and he got to go where he wanted to go. But Dame Lillard has been a model citizen in Portland, a model teammate. Even at the end, he wasn't happy. He wanted to go, but he wanted to go to Miami. Why is it he didn't go where he wanted to go? But James Harden, all the rebel rouser, went where he wanted to go. I just found that to be odd and just it was upsetting to me as a basketball fan who likes these mega stars.
Right. I think in the NBA, a lot of times I think that the league office has a lot to do with some of these trades. If you think back when this is years ago now, when Chris Paul wanted to go to the Lakers, and they blocked that trade.
Right.
The NBA blocked the trade. And I never understood that. Just like what you're talking about, Charles. I don't understand how James Harden can go anywhere he wants to when he gets ready, and nothing's being done about it. But some of these other guys, like in this case, Dame, when he wanted to go to Miami, he wasn't given that opportunity. Now, from what I've been told, the difference between those two right now are contracts. James is in his last year, whereas Dame Lillard, he just signed a new agreement, and I don't think it would fit under Miami's salary cap. I think Miami would have had to give up too much to get him under the cap, to get him in there with that salary cap. But it's some things I think that are being done behind the scenes that we're not aware of, because I'm perplexed also as to why some of these guys can move and some can't. Yeah. That's just like when your boy left New Orleans to go to the Lakers. He told them up front, "I'm only going to the Lakers," and they allowed it. And so I don't understand. So there's a big discrepancy there. But I think sometimes these are things that we, as the general public, we don't know, and we won't find out
behind the scenes. And I think to your guys' point, Willa, I think it will come out eventually, because Pat Riley comes out and says that Tyler Hero wasn't part of a package to be traded.
Right.
I just don't know. But it's better for you guys to say, I just don't understand it, because if I say it, it's sour grapes. Because
I think that's across the board. We all don't understand it. We're confused. Yeah, we're confused about some of the things that they can and cannot do.
Well, we will see about NBA a lot to talk about.
Carlos,
yes, sir.
On the collegiate level now, there's been a big change with the NIT. The NIT has shopped around. They have shopped around their championship, and now they've announced the next 2 years. For 23, it'll be in Vegas. The year after, it'll be at Finkel Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. I love that place. I have some very fond memories of Finkel Fieldhouse, and I think the NIT going to Vegas, I think it's going to create a lot of fan interest that'll follow their teams to Vegas, and I think for the players, I think they'll be excited about playing in Vegas. Now at Finkel, at the Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, that's just a historic building. I took one of my teams up there to play in that arena. We had the 100 Black Men put on a classic up there, and I took my team to represent our conference, and we ended up playing Virginia State up there. And we we beat them pretty good. But that's a historic site, and I think the kids will be excited about going to Indianapolis. We know Indianapolis is used to hosting the Final Four, so having basketball royalty in the city, I think the fans and the players will feel treated well in Indianapolis.
Well, and I hope he doesn't mind me mentioning his whole name, James Green, guy who watches the show, and he kind of sent me something. I had a chance to look at it, but he said it would be something interesting to discuss on the show. So I'm glad you brought that up, Coach Pettaway. Now, question: is it the Final Four going to be in Vegas and Indianapolis? Okay.
Yeah, the Final Four.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure with that. And speaking of basketball, a controversial figure passed away.
Yeah.
Bob Knight.
And
it's interesting. From an X's and O's standpoint, outstanding. Personality-wise, he was a hardliner. Direct this to Coach Pettaway and Willa, then to Charles. Willa, your thoughts on Bobby Knight? Wow. I guess the passion. The saying he said, when his time had come and passed, bury him upside down to the world. The chair throwing, just tough. But from X's and O's standpoint, I couldn't find anything, Coach Pettaway and Wheeler and Charles.
A lot of controversy with him, no doubt about that. But I'm gonna tell you, for me, what was most impressive about him, that you heard very few of his players come out and say something critical about him, if any. You look over all those years of coaching and all those guys that he coached, good, bad, or indifferent. I'd be remiss to say that, I could find anywhere where, a particular player came out in public and said Coach Knight was this, ugly SOB, or, criticized him for the way that he treated them, that sort of thing. So, that says a lot in terms of the treatment of your players. Now whether or not they just bit their tongues or what have you, that's a story for another day. But I thought that at the end of the day, that was the most telling sign to me, that the man was an excellent coach.
Right.
He got buy-in from his kids, win, lose, and draw. They worked hard for him each and every night, without a doubt. They knew what to expect walking in the door.
Right.
And those who didn't get along and had to wind up leaving, they left pretty much amicably and went on to their next destination and pretty much kept it moving. So those were the things about Knight that, impressed me the most.
Yeah. Great X and O guy. And Willie, you hit it on the head. His players understood what they were getting into. They know that he was going to coach them hard. And when you expect that and you know that up front, I think it's a little easier for them to deal with it. So there were no surprises, because in the recruiting process, he lets them know that he's going to coach them hard. The assistants let the players know Coach Knight is from the old school. He's going to coach you hard. And if you come there, you're going to expect that. And those guys came in, they bought into his system, they bought into the way he coached, his style of coaching, and they won. They were a very, very talented team. Man-to-man defense from day one. He didn't believe in zone. He knew all the different principles that you needed to have to play good, great team man-to-man defense. And I think that's his signature. That's what he'll always be known for, the great defense. And then you got to remember, he's the last coach to have an undefeated team. That Indiana team, I think it was 75 or 76. That's the last undefeated team to win a national championship now, to go all the way. So they're in the record books. He'll always be remembered. And when he retired now, he was the all-time winningest coach in Division I basketball. Now, since he retired, Coach Krzyzewski, passed him in terms of number of wins, but his legacy is there. It's cemented in, even when the fiasco they had with the Olympic team, where he was so hard on those pro players. But Coach Knight will always be remembered for a guy that gave you his all. And I think that's the biggest thing we can take away. He left it all out on the court when he came to coaching.
Right. Charles, and you look at Isaiah Thomas, you know, he comes across as, you know, how can I put it? We'll put it this way. Coach Knight said he was one of his toughest players from a mental standpoint as well. And then you look at Charles, Coach Knight, Coach Don Chaney. Coach Chaney. I'm sorry, Chaney from Temple. Same kind of mindset, very tough nose, very
Right.
tough nose. And as everyone has stated, you knew what you were going to get. He said, look, this is not a democracy when he was recruiting.
Right.
We're going to run this. We're going to play this style. And this is what we're going to do. You buy in or you buy out. Go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to somewhat meet Coach Knight. Coach Knight and the late Davey Whitney were really good friends. And one year we took a trip to Bloomington, to Assembly Hall, and I was there. And just those two guys, just a lot of jokes, a lot of smiles. I mean, that was history right there. I didn't realize the relationship that they had. I heard about it, but when you see it in person, when you see Coach Whitney on your left and Coach Knight on your right, I mean, I wasn't in the cameras and taking pictures at that time, but that's a photo op I missed out on because that's history there. And just those two coaches, Whitney and Knight, are mirror images of each other. Now, Whitney wasn't going to throw a chair,
right,
like that, but just the intensity, between those guys and on the court was just, to me, unmatched. And I was very privileged to have the opportunity to go to Assembly Hall, an historic building, a historic coach, a historic program. It's like ours to see that. So that, I mean, it's unfortunate. God rest his soul, but he was a living legend. Despite all that other stuff, you cannot dispute what he did on the basketball court.
Right. And Charles, I had the same opportunity to see Coach Whitney and Coach Knight. We were at a clinic out in California, in LA, and Coach Knight and Coach Whitney were there. And I was standing up with Coach Whitney when Coach Knight came up, and they just started talking. And so they continued to talk while I was there. And toward the end of their talk, I asked Coach Knight about coming to Alabama to fish in a tournament. We had this tournament here every year in June. And I said, well, yeah, Coach, I know you like fishing, and I would love to have you to come to Alabama. I said, I think our fans and everybody would love to see you out there fishing with us. Consider that. He asked me about the month. Then he says, well, what kind of fishing? I said, bass fishing. He said, man, I don't do no doggone, he didn't say doggone. He said, I don't do no doggone bass fishing. He said, I fly fish. And man, Coach Whitney and I, we just fell out, man. But yeah, he loved to fish. He's a fly fisherman. And I knew that, but I just thought maybe he might would fish, do bass fishing. But he said, heck no, he wants to do that fly fishing. So he's a great guy. And, I've had the opportunity to see him at different clinics where he was the top person there. And then, you get a chance to sit around and talk with him away from the game. And you just learn a lot. You just learn a lot from people like him, man. So, but I had the opportunity to be in the presence of Coach Whitney and Bobby Knight at the same time. Yep.
That's historic in itself. Well, he's journeyed from this life.
Yep.
So our thoughts and prayers go to Coach Knight and his family. Like I said, controversial.
Yep, but very controversial.
You know who he was. He was who we thought he was. Now, guys, switching to football, Coach Pettaway.
Yes.
Last week, I know it was so many people there. The Magic City Classic, I actually picked Alabama State. Charles, can you remember who you picked? And I think Willa picked Alabama. And
I picked A&M. I went with Connell, and
I did the same thing.
I let Connell know he'd been letting me down here this football season because I think I picked him like maybe 3 weeks, and so it seems like I might be the kiss of death for him.
But, no, not too, Will.
Yeah. But Carlos, it was a great atmosphere, man. They had over 69,000 people in the stands, and I'm gonna be honest now, it was more than that outside. outside in the parking lot, and I don't know, but for some reason, Carlos, whether it was in my vehicle or in the press box, you could not get out. They had problems in the press box with Wi-Fi. So I don't know. I think Legion Field is so ancient that I don't think they've upgraded the fiber and stuff like that so that the signal will remain strong. But no one can get out. They had difficulties doing the entire game. So I want to apologize for that because I did want to be on. I wanted you all to see the atmosphere that was being created at that game. And then now we got to get together. Get ready for another tough game. We got FAMU in here. We got the Rattlers. Yeah. And man, watching them all year, watching Musa and the job that Coach Simmons has been doing, the Bulldogs gonna have their hands full today. So, but they look forward to the challenge because Coach Maynard's been talking all week about getting ready for the next game. So this is it.
Well, Carlos, for me, I had Alabama A&M winning the game, and Bama State won with an Alabama A&M kind of score because FAMU wouldn't have locked up the East last week if Alabama A&M hadn't lost last week, and that was going to be that game today.
Yep.
FAMU and A&M would have been one of the big games of the year in the Eastern Division because I think A&M would have been ready, but nonetheless, I had Alabama A&M. I think it was a very disappointing loss. I think you look at all these games to see Alabama A&M not get it done there. I thought offensively they had enough, but Alabama State defensively, I think is really, really underrated. I don't think we talk about it enough. They held us in check. They beat Jackson on their homecoming. I think Bama State defensively, they're coming. And then they had the Hail Mary, Coach Petaway. You saw
right. 8 seconds.
They had the Hail Mary, and I think the A&M fell apart after that, it seemed like.
Right. You scored to take the lead going into halftime with 8 seconds on the clock. 13 seconds, and then you allow them to do the Hail Mary on you. Yeah, that's tough. I think that took the wind out of their sails, and they were never able to rebound from that. And then Coach Maynard talked about the block punt that we gave up, a block field goal. The block field goal that we gave up. So there were too many miscues to go against a team like Alabama State, who, just like Charles said, I think a lot of us have underrated their defense because, man, they were bringing the hat, man. They were putting the hat on some people. So, but we're looking forward to this one today.
I'm going to raise my hand because I'll say one word. I was the only guy that got it right. One word. And you can go back and look at it last week. I said Alabama State's defense, they're nasty.
Yeah.
I've seen it against Southern University. I've seen it against FAMU. And basically, Alabama State defense. That's why I picked them. One of my few times I've gotten a prediction right, so I'll pat myself on the back. Last week, October 28th, Grambling State over Bethune-Cookman, 28-14. It was Alcorn State over Valley, 24-3. Jackson State over UAPB, 40-14. Of course, 31-16. Alabama State over Alabama A&M. And FAMU over Prairie View. It was dominant, 45-7. Yep. Very dominant. And then, of course, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Texas Southern over Southern in overtime, 23-17. But Coach Petaway, Wheeler has tried to make me feel less frustrated. I've never, let me back up. It's been quite a while since I felt like it was a loss after a win.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way, and Southern was very fortunate, very lucky to win that ball game, but they got it done.
But here's the thing: it's just like in basketball. I'd rather have an ugly win any day than a doggone good-looking loss. This time of year, you better be happy that you got the W because that's what counts right now. And when you're talking about W, you all got a big game today. You got to win the game if you got any hopes of trying to win a championship. It starts today now. It starts today. They got a very tough matchup.
Right, and I hear what You say Coach Pettaway. I've heard with Wheeler. I see Charles with in the background throwing his hands up. But guess what? In the back of their mind, you know something is just not right. And you hope that you are wrong. You hope you're wrong about today. But, I know you don't get points, extra points for winning, by huge margins. But everyone is entitled to, like, Cat has 9 lives. Southern got one of their lives handed to them after last week, because if you would have taken a poll of anybody with 6 minutes to go in that game, Texas Southern had it. They won everywhere
And
except the scoreboard.
Carlos, you know and recognize and feel that
Oh, I'll take
something's
the
not
win now.
right.
Trust me.
That something's not right. Let me finish. You understand that something's not right, okay? And I'm sure the coaches probably feel the same way, okay? But obviously they're reaching for band-aids, and you're reaching for a scalpel. You see what I'm saying? You want major surgery. You want major surgery.
How about outpatient surgery? How about outpatient?
Coach Dooley want to patch it up
Yep.
and keep it moving.
Right. He want to do a scope.
And I think right now that's the way to go. You patch it up and you keep it moving. Now is not the time for major surgery, Carlos. It's just not.
How about outpatient? It's like you got pressure building up. We need a quick fix.
Yeah, but Carlos, at this point, you do something awesome. You just scope. You just do a scope right now. You don't do the major surgery.
I'll take that.
Yeah, you just do the scope right now. So I guarantee you, Coach Dooley would tell you right now he'd rather have that scope than to have major surgery at this point in the season. Because, now he might not be saying the same thing after 60 minutes of football today, but right now, that's the way he feels going into this game. And listening to him in the press conference, he seems to be confident that the Jaguars are going to be ready to play.
Carlos, we got a coach and an AD here, and I want to ask both you guys this question. It has not been pretty football. Wheeler Brown knows he's played the game. Football is not a pretty sport at all. If Southern or Alcorn, because our fan base is saying the same thing, if we take this thing off the sheet, or if Southern takes this thing off the sheet, and Carlos, you're in Atlanta and you watch your Columbia Blue hoist that Celebration Bowl trophy, are you going to care how it happened? Are you going to care about the FAMU debacle? Are you going to care about Alabama State? Are you going to care about? I know I wouldn't.
Right.
Not in the least. Not in the least.
The frustration, all of that stuff. That's just the nature of it. You're going to get that. If you get to where you want to go, no matter how ugly or how nasty it's going to be, and it is, because football's that sport. Then people got to back up a little bit. I mean, I respect everybody's opinion. It ain't going to be pretty. Football hasn't been pretty at all at any level this year. The NFL, Pee Wee, high school, SWAC, SEC, it doesn't matter. It's not pretty. And so,
and the worst thing you want to do, Carlos, is back in on this thing. If you get in because of a tiebreaker or what have you, what kind of mental mindset are you bringing to the party? And like we just stated right now, Southern's in command, of their own destiny. All they got to do is just win out, and it's over. But if you're one of those other schools that are depending on tiebreaker, and you get in because of the third tiebreaker or the fourth tiebreaker or what have you, what kind of mental mindset are you going to be in going in? Are you going to just look at it as, yeah, we in here now, let's go get it or what have you? Or in the back of your mind, it's always going to be, we backed into this thing. Did we really deserve it? At the first sign of trouble, are we going to throw in the towel or roll under the bench or what have you? So, I mean, Southern's in the best position possible. And they can legitimately go ahead and win out and go to the championship game. I mean, you can't ask for no more than that, Carlos. I mean,
Yeah, but
that's
see, on the
bottom line.
Brave side,
But
the
wait
Braves
a minute.
they're thinking the
I
same
think
thing.
well,
The Braves are saying the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We control our own destiny. All we got to do is win.
Wait a minute. Now, Charles, I'm going to pick on you. Now, you're telling Southern fans that's the way they should feel, like Willie Brown was saying. But then we could point the same fingers back at Alcorn fans, correct?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I've been
And
talking.
also, I think I'm cut from a different cloth. You know why? Because I'm hearing what you're saying, Coach Petaway, Coach Brown, and Wheeler. Guess what? Do you see the expression on my face? I guess I'm too competitive for my own good. And last year, Southern University, let's just be honest. I'm not going to say back in, but it happened. But they were fortunate that a couple teams lost.
Right.
And they were able to represent the Western Division. So I understand that. And they still, and I've said this, Will, they still have a chance to achieve their goals. Today, I would just like to see a complete game. Coach Petaway, have you ever coached or felt like after game you had a complete game by your basketball team?
Right. They come far. You have very few complete games.
Right.
And we as coaches, we understand that. That's why I'm saying a win is a win. And I don't care. I can win by 1 or I can win by 30. As long as that is a W shows up at the end of the night, as a coach, I'm happy. Now if it's a close game, yeah, we know we got things to work on. That's what practice is for. That's why you film games so that you can see everything that took place, so you can make the adjustments, you can make corrections. So as long as you're winning, I think you have to have a different mindset. Winners have a different mindset than the people that are accustomed to losing all the time. Yeah, you may not play great, but you have done what you needed to win a ball game. And in both of those locker rooms this afternoon, and on Alcorn State side, on Southern side, they're saying the same thing. Fellas, we control our own destiny. All we got to do is go out here and play for 4 quarters, give it our best, and we control our own destiny. And so that's a good thing, because you're going head to head. You don't have to depend on anybody else. All you got to do is depend on those people in that locker room. And I think that's what they're looking at.
Let me do this. I got to take a timeout. Coach Johnson is in the waiting area. I definitely want to bring him on. And then when we come back, we'll tie everything together. We will ask Coach Johnson if he would like to stay for the rest of the show. I mean, he's a basketball coach, but I'm sure he has some thoughts on what we're talking about, because it looks like it's me against the world in this one. But you know what? I'm just that type of guy, Coach Petaway and Coach Brown. I love the action.
Yeah. But look, Carlos, coaching is the same all the way around, whether you're coaching football or basketball.
Right.
We believe in the same thing. A win is a win.
Right. So to make me happy, a complete game by Coach Dooley offensively and the defense, I will be so happy. I will not say another unenergetic thoughts for the rest of the season.
Carlos, what makes it complete is that you come out with a win.
Right.
You come out with as few injuries as possible. You feel good about the fact that, we played well enough to win the day. And, we go on and make them corrections that we need to make, and we keep it moving from there. And we always, from a coaching point of view, you're going to be in search of the perfect game.
Yep.
But you may go 20 years and not find the perfect game. But you always got to be in search of it.
Yep.
And when it happens, you'll know that it happened. And you're not going to feel good, bad, or indifferent one way or the other, because from a coaching point of view, you got to get ready for the next game. Yeah, so you don't have time to dwell on, oh man, it just seemed like we were clicking on all cylinders and all that sort of thing and stuff. You don't have time from a coaching point of view. You don't have the luxury. So like I said, we're all in search of it. Some of us find it early. Some of us never find it at all, but it doesn't keep us from searching for it and aspiring to get to that point.
Can we find a perfect game for the next 3 games of this season? But anyway, I got to take a time out. When we come back, we'll visit with Coach Kevin Johnson, men's basketball coach at Southern University. You're watching Coach Brown Show on the Black College Sports Network.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong. Go get 'em! It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean. Goodbye, itchy squirm.
Hello, clean bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Stride K-12 powered schools are ready to put over 20 years of being a leader in online education to work for you. Dive into curriculum design for the online classroom. Team up with state-certified teachers trained in virtual instruction. Take control of your child's education journey. Discover the power of personalized learning with a leader experienced in preparing kids for a future they can be excited about. Take charge. Stride K-12. Enroll now for the fall.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show. We got a full board right now, and we got 14 minutes left. And I want to welcome in BJ Jones and also Coach Kevin Johnson. Coach Johnson,
Yes,
94-6 in the exhibition basketball game. I wasn't able to make it, but I was told a great performance, early builder. Talk about your team getting able to get off to a good start for the season with an exhibition win.
First of all, thanks for having me on, and definitely hello to all you guys and good afternoon. There is no better place to be on a Saturday than in a gym. And so we were on the practice floor this morning, and then after that, couldn't wait to come and join you guys. But we're able to have a scrimmage a couple of weeks ago against UL Monroe, and then we had our one exhibition game Tuesday night against Louisiana Christian. And here's what I think we've been able to get to the floor. I think there is a work ethic that we've established with this group. They come to practice every day, and they're working really hard. And I think the fight right now is for some consistency. But I like the foundation and that we have going on right now, and I like the way our guys are sharing the ball. So that's where we are right now.
Coach Johnson, you said consistency and foundation. Two words I love when you're building a program. Talk a little bit more about that. Is that something easy to obtain, or is it a work in progress?
Yeah, I think it's always a work in progress because and Coach Pett can attest to this.
Yeah.
As a coach, you're never going to get comfortable with where you
Right.
are. You're always going to be looking to get better. But like I said, I like the foundation we have at this point. Now, tomorrow, if we're the same place that we were today, it's not going to be good enough. So we're always looking to improve and get better.
Right. Now, Coach Johnson, you had 4 people in double digits. You scored 94 points, and you got 64 points off your bench. You had to like that. You had to like that total team effort.
Yeah, I did like it, but that says coach don't know who to play if he got that much. We got to look at changing that lineup.
I love it. Toughness. Hey. Well, Coach, you were in the waiting room. You kind of heard the discussion.
Sure.
About a win is a win. And, I value Coach Pettaway. I value Will Brown. I value Charles's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I also value B.J. Jones' opinion. I think maybe am I a little bit too harsh with my expectations? And we were talking about the football, but we can put this across the board no matter what sport. Is there a chance of being realistic? Expectations, standards, all of those words. How do you put that in a day-by-day operation in a program?
You know what, Carlos? We kind of look at things through our own glasses, right? So you're a fan, and and I'm a fan of certain things. But when you sit in that coaching seat, it's about the results, man. I have seen teams play ugly basketball and ugly it up all the way to a championship. And so, if you get that goal, it's not something you're going to give back. So, that's the way I see it. But I understand the fans, they want a perfect game. But I don't know in 35 years if I've ever been involved in a perfect game. And even if I feel like I am, I bet when I go back and evaluate it, it won't be perfect. So, it's about the results, man.
Preach, Coach, preach.
Well, BJ, BJ played collegially at Southern University, and we're kind of looking at things maybe from a different perspective. But we know if we say, do we see improvement? Do we look for that week by week? I think that's where the frustration kind of happens from the fan perspective, BJ.
I'm with you, Carlos. What Coach said is true. I mean, a win is a win. But what you want to see is that the mistakes that you made in week 1 and week 2 are not the same mistakes that you're making in week 10 or 11. And you want to see some progress. In football, particularly when you get into the month of November, you need to be hitting that stride and playing, the best ball of the season. I think that's where a lot of frustration comes from fans with this current football team.
Yeah. Well, it's a healthy discussion. When you look at programs, you want to see it across the board, no matter what sport. As we see the basketball team in their exhibition, Coach Johnson, looking at the film, where do you see improvement needs to be?
Well, I think the number one thing that we got to do to improve is we have to stop fouling so much. I want to be aggressive on the defensive end, but we played that scrimmage against Monroe. They shot 32 free throws, and then we gave up 33 free throws the other night to the Louisiana Christian in a 30-point win. And so we're getting the type of aggression that I want, but I want to be able to defend without fouling. And Coach Pett knows all about that.
Yeah. Don't put him on a charity stripe. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Right, because you're giving the points back when you foul like that. But
absolutely,
Coach, that's interesting. Any major surprises since you started?
You know what? I guess this would be a surprise for me. We had 23 assists the other night. One of the things I was concerned about this summer was how long it would take us to put a group on the floor that didn't care who scored and that shared the ball. And that's one of the things I think we did a great job of at Tulane, because you could look at the end of the game, if we had 15 assists, that usually was a win. And the other night we had 23 assists, and man, I was excited, and I've been just patting these guys on the back about how important that is to build a good team.
And Coach Johnson, you're getting ready to kick off the season, right?
We're getting on the road tomorrow, headed to Fort Worth to play TCU, and I know they're right on the outside of the top 25. They probably should be in the top 25 because they are loaded. So it's a great challenge, but also a great opportunity.
And last week, Coach Pettaway, you missed. We had Coach Funchess on, and that non-conference schedule. It is what it is. Coach Johnson, that's kind of and correct me if I'm wrong. That's kind of the schedule that was already in place when you were hired. Correct?
Yeah, most of the schedule was done. We were able to add a few games. I know we added the Tulane game in December. That's one I always want to play because it's close and it is a money game. But most of the schedule was done. But look, we're not going to make any excuses, and we're not going to cry about it. Every time we hit the floor, it's an opportunity to play, and that's how I want these guys to look at it.
And that's the Kevin Johnson that I know. That's it. Yeah. Well said.
I'll do all the fussing and cussing about the non-conference schedule. That's my job. But last thing, will you be able to kind of have a different philosophy with those non-conference games in the future?
Well, I think one of the things I plan on doing, and we'll see, coaches will make all kinds of plans and then get to the game, and then what happens? The plans we'll do something else. But I would like to take a look at as many different lineups. And we played 13 guys the other night. I'm gonna try to play 13 on Monday. And so what I want to have is at the end of December, I want to have a great feel for what every single player that's on this team can do.
And then you'll be looking at a conference schedule that, of course, they have the Jaguars picked in the middle of the pack. But somehow, just me, Coach Johnson, I think we'll be pleasantly surprised at the end results of conference play.
You know what, Carlos? I wish they had picked us 10th or 11th. Those preseason numbers, they really don't carry a whole lot of value. That's for the fans. But, we're concerned about how the thing finishes out.
On that note, Coach Johnson, we appreciate the time. We'll talk with you hopefully real soon. I know once the season starts, it's basketball X and O's with the whole program. But we appreciate you coming off the practice court to talk with us today.
Look, I enjoy visiting with you guys, man. We'll make time as the season goes on. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you, Coach Johnson, and continued success, brother.
Peace. Appreciate you.
All righty. BJ, Alcorn and Southern University today. Let's get your thoughts. We got about 5 minutes left. What are your keys?
Quarterback plays both sides. The offense that can be efficient, limit turnovers. I think one of the keys with defenses like this is going to be who can run the ball and who can do it effectively. When you look at Alcorn, they've been very effective. Jarvian Howard's gotten back on track. Offensively, they look a lot better. running the football. It's going to be an extreme challenge for Southern University to be able to slow down that football team and slow down those backs. I think he who wins the turnover battle has a great chance to walk out of this one sitting in the catbird seat in the SWAC Western Division.
Willa Brown, former offensive tackle, North Carolina A&T. I know you're going to say whoever controls the trenches will get it done. How do you see this game going today?
You
Prediction
know,
time.
I mean, Alcorn is at home, and you can never discount the fact that they are at home and all of the nuances that come with being at home. But I really think Southern is overdue for what you call a better game, and so I think they're going to. I think they're going to prevail today, and I just believe that for all the naysayers who are saying blood this and blood that sort of thing, he's probably overdue for a great game. And I'm not saying he'll have a great game today. He may have one of his better games today, but it's all about leadership, Carlos. And apparently, Dooley and them see something in this guy that maybe the rest of your fans or what have you, maybe they're not able to see. He sees something in this guy. He sees something in his play, that tells him, look, I need to go on and stick with this guy because, as long as I got the dice in his hand, I got a chance to win some money on this thing. And I think it would take a real travesty for him to, just discount the kid and, go in a different direction. Maybe losing today might be the thing, that will kind of push it over the edge, But I think as long as they're winning, and as long as we can call it getting by or what have you, and blood is at the helm. I mean, you got to go on and stick with the kid. You got to look at in the coaches' room and make sure that they're doing the things necessary to put this kid in position to be successful. And so to me, that's where the onus lies more than anything. Let's game plan around what this kid does well or doesn't do well. Let's make sure we put him in a position to be successful. So, I mean, I like Southern today, and I think for them, less distraction maybe than, Alcorn being at home and, the crowd and, all the other things that go along with, playing a rival type school, at home, all the little things that go along with that. I think Southern could be the more quote unquote relaxed team today going out there, and so, we'll see what happens.
All right, quickly, Coach Petaway, Charles and BJ to wrap it up.
All right. I think with Alcorn playing at home, I don't think the Braves are going to let the Jaguars out.
BJ.
Hey, we know how hard a place this is to win. We haven't won here since 2016. Got a little momentum on our side. We've won the last two. Hey, I think that this is the game that we finally see it. I like the Jags in the close one. I think this is going to be razor thin.
Charles Edmond, we have 1 minute left.
I am worried about this game because the Jaguars are due for one. The Jaguars are due. Hadn't won here since 2016. One of the hotter teams in the league. They can run the football, slow this game down. It could be a good riching game. Braves should get it done at home, but can't let the door open for this Jaguar team. Southern will play their best game of the year today.
Last but not least, I'll just simply say I'm going with a gut. My gut feeling is the offense has just been too erratic. Yeah, they're due for one. Hopefully it'll be the day. I hope I'm wrong. I truly hope I'm wrong. But I like Alcorn at home. I got them winning by 10 points. But God, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Want to thank all of our guests. Melanie producing today's show. We got to get out of here. Southern and Alcorn getting ready to start in 1 hour. We'll have the results for you, and we'll talk about it next week on the Carlos Brown Show. Until next time, as always, peace and God bless.